And now, it's that time of the week once again. Welcome to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Steve Waldridge. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the flight.
Hello, a very good evening, everybody, to what is episode 31 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on the Departure Lounge YouTube channel. My name is Tom Whittle, and joining me as ever from, well, I'll let him describe where he is today. But it's my good wonderful friend Steve Waldridge. Steve, good evening to you. Where's Steve tonight?
Oh well, good evening, Tom. Good evening. Everyone watching online and catching up during the week. I've made it back to 2021 and I'm very excited. We've got Wi-Fi, electricity. Apparently, I have
Not
to...
yet. Get everyone involved first and then you can do it in front of everyone.
Apparently.
Not yet. You can do it in front of everybody. No, but are you well?
Yeah, no, really good. I'm decent. I went down to see the Max leave Bournemouth yesterday, so that was exciting. So yeah, I'm looking forward to tonight as well, of course.
Wonderful stuff. Also joining us from his wonderful home up north is, of course, resident comment reader who should be at the bottom there. It is Ian Hartley. He's all about that pastry, no butter.
Yep, that's me. Evening, Tom. Evening, Steve. All right?
Yeah, all right. Thank you. Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah, not too bad. Thank you very much. Yeah, doing all right. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, it's been all right. I managed to catch a tornado, catch a typhoon on Thursday evening when I should have been doing other things. All right. And that's pretty much about me, all the aviation activities I've been up to this week. I did a bit of fishing, got a couple of pikes, so yeah, happy days. I've had a good week.
Very good. Very good indeed. All right, Steve, you've got the floor. Tell everyone, the floor is yours whilst I show some comments.
Well, apparently I may have upset a few Cornish folk last week with my comments, so from Land's End to Tamar Bridge and everywhere in between, I wholeheartedly apologise for me mocking your Wi-Fi. Not that you're ever going to see this, because I don't think you've got Wi-Fi. But on the off chance you're standing on one leg on a chair with your phone out the window, I'm incredibly sorry to you, and I enjoyed my stay, and your pasties were amazing. And yeah, I'm just really sorry.
Bit of a backhanded apology, but we'll go with it.
Yeah. Very
fantastic, wonderful. So just a few hellos there from Jack Rolls, Marco Barrett, and Julia. Got to remember how to pronounce the name. Cherniakov. There we go. Got there. And of course, Jack Rolls saying, "Best podcast ever. Always a fan." I'll take that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and nice to see you yesterday as well, Jack, as well. So it was good to catch up with you yesterday.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us this evening. We'll go into a bit of housekeeping first before we jump into the news for this week. So if you want to follow us on any of our social medias, we'll be showing them throughout the evening, but they are in the description below of this stream if you wish to find them instead of waiting for them to pop up on the screen. We are on Spotify. Random hair in my mouth. Yeah, ignore that. So we are on Spotify, so you can find us on there, and you can take our show with you pretty much everywhere you go. If you want to sort of listen to this episode or the last 30 that we have done, take us anywhere you go and give us a listen and a follow. And then lastly, if you wish to become a guest on the show, all you have to do is drop us a message and we will get you on as soon as possible. We have plenty of space. We are taking bookings for November and December for anybody that might want to come on in December as well. So drop us a message, let us know. Even if you've been on it before, let us know, and we'll get you on the show. Also, lastly, we're going to be plugging this throughout the evening because it is a very limited edition. As you can see, Ian and I are wearing our very special t-shirts, which I will... There you go. These are our special Pride t-shirts that we have released. We released them last week, and they have been a pretty big hit so far. So they are on sale, as you can see, limited edition. They are available until the end of this month. So get onto the shop website, which again is in the description below, and buy yours before it runs out on the 31st of October. That is it, I believe. That is everything for this evening. So let's jump into a little bit of news. And we're going to start with the news that this week we found out that Swiss International Airlines, I should say, announced that they're retiring the A340 by 2024-2025. They're looking to replace them, rumours, of course, with either the 787 as part of the Lufthansa group or the A350. Bit of a sad one, this, as the A340 sorts of begins to slowly leave our skies. Steve, any thoughts?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? The four-engined aircraft is dwindling out. Even the 380s, I imagine, will probably have the same sort of date on them, even though it hasn't been officially announced. I know, obviously, there's the cargo ones down Bournemouth, but they're sort of 14 years old, and you put that time scale on, they become 20 years old, and they'll probably be going the same way, unfortunately. So it's just a real sad sort of sign of the times that these iconic aircraft, like the four engines, are going to disappear. And I dare say the 747's cargo will probably end up going the same way relatively shortly as well, and be replaced by sort of Neos and what have you, because it's obviously more cost effective and they can do the same job. So yeah, it is disappointing.
Absolutely. Ian, four-engine aircraft, which is sort of mixed reviews from a lot of people because they reckon it's underpowered with the hairdryer engines. But yeah, going to be leaving our skies very soon.
Yeah, it's another sign of times, isn't it? He's gonna laugh. Yeah, it's just a sign of the times. It's another like death nail in four-engine aircraft, isn't it? I mean, on the plus side, I mean, looking at the news this week on TV, and you can see that all these ships are queuing up to get unloaded, and we've got shortages of wagon drivers and this and the other. Hopefully, they might turn to air cargo rather than expecting it to be shipped just to get it here. So hopefully, it might just be a bit of reprieve for them, even if they're not carrying passengers. They might just get converted into freighters, and hopefully, they'll be in skies a bit longer. Even your 747s, they could pull a few of them out of retirement and take some pressure off the shipping if things need to get to this country that quick. So hopefully there might be a bit of a reprieve, sort of a short-term thing, but we'll have to wait and see. But I do love a 340. They're a proper nice plane.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sad one. Just out of curiosity and just to get some sort of idea as to what we are thinking. 787s or A350s, do we reckon, or do you reckon it's going to be a big mixture of both?
I personally think they'll swing for the 350 because most of their fleet is already Airbus, isn't it? They got the 220s, they got the 330, the 340. So I think the logical step for them is probably to stick with Airbus.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you there, Steve, to be honest. Yeah.
I think so, because I think it's a step up as well. It's stepping up from a 330 to a 350 is going to take less time to do than swapping completely and having to retrain up and get certificates for the 787s. So I would probably go with that. So I'd reckon it would be
definitely. I mean, what's the seating capacity? What's the difference between a 340 and a 350, would you say? It's minimal?
I'd say minimal.
Yeah.
Without knowing off the top of my head, I would say minimal.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm sure somebody will probably stick it in the chat and let us know what the seating capacity of both are. But yeah, it's dependent on what they do, and they're all about the range, because they do go to places like Brazil, and sort of way out, sort of South America way. So ultimately, both aircraft can do it. It's just dependent on which one they favour, which I think will still be the 350.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about bums on seats at the end of the day, innit? It depends what the footfall is going into these Swiss airports, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it. Also, we learned this week that Singapore Airlines are bringing back their A380s to London Heathrow for the first time since this pandemic began, and they were put into storage. They're going back onto the SQ317 flights into Heathrow, and it's going to be used mainly for vaccinated travel lane flights. So again, we've reported nothing but good news about the A380 over the last couple of weeks, and more good news here.
Yeah, no, I'm going to have to get down Heathrow. Obviously, we got British Airways doing the Madrid, Frankfurt. Now you've got these coming in as well. So the chance to go down there along with the Emirates to get a few different 380s flying in is almost unmissable. And I know Singapore have been quite sort of regular all through this, haven't they? They've been bringing in 350s daily. So there's obviously a degree of demand, whether there'll be passenger and a bit of cargo, perhaps. Like I imagine that's what the 350s have been doing, and that you can just scale both up a little bit, then, can't they? So
yeah,
but for the 380, which I know we sort of about to contradict myself from what I said earlier on, it's great to see him returning to the skies for however long it's going to be for him.
Yeah, it is. It's good news to see it coming back. Obviously, they've started to sort of scrap and get rid of some of their older A380s and stuff, but definitely good news to see another airline in committing to the 380 for a little bit longer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't think it's Singapore as well. I mean, it's nice to see Singapore putting theirs back in the air, but I think there's a few others as well who were scheduled to retire quite a few of their fleet, and they're not retiring them either. They're all slowly seem to be coming back out, don't they? And they're brushing off the cobwebs and putting them back in air again, aren't they? There seems to be quite a few at it now. So maybe there's life in the old dog yet, as they say.
That's it.
Now.
I imagine the just sort of on topic but off topic for Singapore, those Frankfurt Madrid flights, looking on sort of Instagram and Twitter, people are going crazy buying up tickets just to say they've sort of done it and that. So yeah, they're British Airways have probably pulled a bit of a masterstroke there, filling seats on planes that wouldn't normally have that many people going to sort of Frankfurt Madrid.
I think it's an experience flight, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Marco Barrett there giving us information about the difference of the 350 and the 787 there. He says that the 350 does allow for a 333 configuration, so it will probably be, probably have a few more seats than the A340. So I imagine that would, again, like I said, that you can get more bums on seats, like you said, and generate a bit more sort of revenue for doing so.
Absolutely. It's a winner for them, isn't it?
Absolutely. And we're going to go away from that, and we're going to go for our last news here, and we're going to try and keep this short because there's plenty of opinion on this. But as we know, Alitalia on Thursday went out of our skies for good, and were replaced the following day on the Friday by ITA. ITA also this week unveiled what their new livery will be. After weeks of speculation, we've got it here to show everybody, for those that are watching on YouTube. It is, so we'll describe it. It's an azuri blue with white titles, and it's sort of almost like a bubble effect on the tail with the Italian flag running down the back end of the tail there. We've discussed this sort of off air and that, so we'll bring it back in just quickly. Are we a fan or not?
It's smart looking, but like without sort of stealing Ian's thunder, the cost of that paint job for an airline that's sort of a gamble does seem a bit peculiar. And I think I've always associated the Italian blue being slightly darker rather than a light blue. It's almost like the Special Emirates livery to me. But it's not horrendous. I definitely would point my camera at the sky that came over my way, but it just seems
It's
a little
better
bit.
than some. I think it's better than some liveries that come out and it's just very half-assed, and it's just all Euro white because it's all money saving and that. But I think what this does, it creates a big statement to say, we are here and we are sort of here to stay, hopefully for good. And by sort of splashing the cash on, because this livery won't come into play until next year. When the new sort of aircraft start to come into the fleet. So for now, they've said that the current fleet of aircraft, apart from that one that we showed last week, which is in special titles, will operate with the Alitalia livery. So the Alitalia livery will be around for a little bit longer. Just obviously it's under the ITA operation. So it's a strange one. Ian, just obviously very quickly.
I like it. Yeah, I think it's dead nice. Yeah, I think it's proper. It's a proper crowd pleaser, I think, isn't it? And like you say, Tom, it's showing them that they're there. I mean, on the engines, there is a bit of a nod, I think, to the old Alitalia with the green and red dashes, I suppose, on the engines. But I was just looking then, and they've already spent $105 million on branding, and
Cool.
and they've only got one plane up in air, I think, haven't they? And that's the one what says born in 2021. And they've already spent $105 million on branding for the new airline. So, beggars belief, doesn't it?
I want to be wrong, but you do worry for them. Like the business model is exactly the same as what they're walking into. Like, I don't know. I would prefer them to be a bit more conservative. Myself, but yeah, the livery's not.
Yeah.
It's not terrible, but again, it's just a little bit extravagant.
I think it's a bit too extravagant.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, let's say anyone that's got any opinions of this, stick it in the chat. We'll show them throughout the evening. This will be our main sort of topic here as we sort of wrap up these the evenings, or this week's news, I should say, for that one. But for now, Ian, we are going to say... Actually, no, we're not going to say bye yet, because there are a few comments in there which I have shown but not read out. So if you'd like to sort of just read out a few that we've shown on screen there.
Yeah. Aviation 19 saying that ITA have 56 planes in their fleet and 36 of them are in service.
So that would be the old Alitalia ones.
Yeah, but I think part of the branding, what they've been doing, ITA, is actually just to... I mean, the cost of actually stripping delivery off a plane is still going to be an expensive cost. And I think the part of this $105 million what they've spent has actually been stripping liveries as well, because they don't want the old livery, do they? Marco Barrett says he's a big fan, and yeah, it's a nice looking plane, definitely. Jack Rolls, the only one I haven't is Ian. Right, Jack, it is. Have you got my Instagram thing there, Tom, on a caption or something?
Yeah, just hold on, just bear with me 2 seconds.
Tom will sort that out for you, Jack. He's followed us all on Instagram. Oh yeah, good evening as well to Rob Brown, who's in a dark and rather wet Scotland. Sounds like he sat in bath with light off. Jack saying, "Oh yeah, we've been through them, haven't we? Best podcast."
Yeah.
And Julia says, "Good evening and happy days."
Yeah,
so
that's fine.
all good.
So yeah, so on the screen there is Ian's Instagram for those that don't follow him. Werther. That's it. See, even you can't get used to it. It's strange, isn't it?
No, it's down this side somewhere. It's over here. Yeah, I'm trying to have my finger with plaster on.
That's it. And then Jack just saying, hey, thank you. Right, Ian, in that case, we are going to say goodbye to you for now.
Bye.
And we'll bring you back in very, very shortly for some more comments. Wonderful. Right. Okay. Now we go on to the portion of this podcast now where we start to bring on our guests. So this evening's guest is Scott Maynard, who joins us this evening. I've lost his. There we go. Got there in the end. There's his tag. So he joins us this evening to talk everything to do with War Thunder and sort of military aircraft, and to answer any questions that anybody may have in regards to the game. If anyone plays it, obviously let us know as well. And any sort of questions within reason, of course, we'll get them to Scott for the evening. But Scott, very good evening to you. How are you this evening?
Yeah, evening everyone. I'm having a great evening again. Great weekend, great week. So yeah, hope everyone's doing good.
Fantastic. I'll say just quickly before we do go on, I have put a poll up in the comments this time, or this week, I should say. We are looking to do a reaction video. We put this out during the week to get some ideas. And the ideas that we had were RC plane crashes, which everybody loves, of course, and bad aircraft landings. So get your votes in before the end of the show, and we'll announce what we'll be doing when that finishes. But yes, let's get into this evening's podcast and sort of the main part of it. So obviously you are the community manager of War Thunder. Of course, War Thunder is a video game for those that might not know what it is. Just tell us a little bit about the role in which you place. Yeah, I'll go again. My head's all over the place. Tell us about the role that you have across War Thunder.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a broad spanning role because community managers traditionally are normally just sort of like websites, comments, feedback, your sort of social media forum sort of following thing. Mine sort of extended a little bit now because I'm obviously British and living in Britain. A lot of our vehicles and game go into the British tree, things like that. We need sort of people to go around museums and photograph the real things, walk around them, get inside the cockpits, get some books, get some documents, that kind of thing. So I'm more strolling into that area now of actually getting to go and see the real vehicles, go climb all over them, underneath them, take some photographs, and see that side of things too. So it's a bit of a different take on your standard community manager roles, but no, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of it's different to my day job as well. I've got an engineering day job entirely separate to that as well. So it's two very different worlds.
Definitely a different sort of lifestyle from going from engineering to all of a sudden working on this game that is obviously played by a lot of people.
It must be.
Go on.
Sorry, no, go on, Tom. Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, for those that might not sort of know the basis of War Thunder, do you want to just sort of describe what it's about?
Yeah, sure. So it's a military aviation tank and ship game. So just in general military vehicles, spanning from roughly about the Spanish Civil War, 1935, 36, all the way up to currently we've got vehicles from like 2016. And the most modern one that we've got is actually one from just last year, Leopard 2 PL, which is like the latest Leopard 2 from Poland. So it's a big chunk of history that's covered. And we're always sort of filling in the gaps and pushing a bit more modern stuff too.
Fantastic. Go on, Steve.
Yeah, no, I was going to say it must be incredible to go to sort of these museums or what have you and get that sort of access or whatever. Do you ever what do you have to do? Sort of write in advance and say that you need to look at an artifact, or are they pretty good about sort of allowing you that? Sometimes
you do have to go in advance because you've got museums that are maybe the aircraft are a bit sort of further behind barriers and things like that, where you can walk around them, which is great for getting the 360 shots. But no, generally museums have always been pretty open, pretty welcome. Any kind of new media they can take on board to sort of spread their awareness of people coming into the museum as well. So we always try and give a shout out to all the museums and things like that have let us go in, because it gets some people going down to them, and you can play something in the game, then you can go and see it in the museum. That's another level of history and just gets more interest in people as well. So it's nice. It's quite cool. Sometimes you have to email them and ask in advance. Other times you can just sort of rock up and say, is it all right if I just walk around that plane and get a few shots underneath? There's been a few awkward times where it was a bit of a last minute thing. I didn't get time to ask permission, so I had to get a really long selfie stick off Amazon and actually lean underneath a plane and sort of try and get the wheel wells and things like that. So no, it's generally pretty cool, and met some really cool people in the museum industry too. So
nice. Yeah, have you got like one that from doing these photos, one that sort of stood out where you've really kind of gone, I can't believe I'm getting the privilege of getting to photograph this up close?
There's so many as well. Like I couldn't say there's a single one that I sort of would single out above all else. But Boscombe Down is a fantastic museum. It's not got many full aircraft. There's about probably 3 or 4 full aircraft, but mostly it's the cockpit sections. So whereas most museums you're walking in and you're seeing the full plane, Boscombe Down you really sort of get to jump inside, flick all the switches, have a good feel for the interior. It's just a more personal side of it, I guess. You get to feel what it's actually like to sit inside them rather than walk around and admire the outside, which is always fun. But actually getting to go inside them as well is a whole nother level. So they've got some fantastic stuff.
It brings out like the the inner boy in you. I'm sure.
Yeah,
Tom does it. Like you can't just sit there and go, "Oh, this is nice." You've got to
actually do
you've
a
got
job
to pretend
there,
you're doing something, whatever. Yeah.
You sometimes got to pinch yourself and realize I'm not just sat in a jet cockpit for the fun of it. I've actually got to take photos, and you soon fill up your phone and your camera, the SLR camera memory as well, because you're spamming every single like panel and switch and things like that, because we've got to model the whole cockpit. So imagine a sort of 360-degree view you've got to have inside that cockpit. It's a lot of photos, a lot of videos and photos.
Yeah, and obviously you sort of email them off, send them off to the developer, and they then incorporate it within the title for an update or whatever.
Yep, yeah, that's usually the way it goes. There's been a couple of times where I might have accidentally forgot one specific switch or something, and I've had to go all the way back to the museum again and been like, can I get back inside that one? Or the undercarriage one was actually the Civics, and I don't know if you've seen it at Duxford, but there's one with the wings folded up.
Yeah.
It was the quickest one I could get to on a short-term basis, and I had to go rushing back there with a selfie stick underneath and get the wheel wells, because we didn't have any. There's no photos online, believe it or not, of a Civic's wheel wells for some unknown reason. Which you think modelers and things like that, people making model kits, are normally taking full walk around, so you can always Google a plane and generally you can find a good 360 view of it. But no, there's always the odd one where we've had to make a first. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it must be amazing when you've gone out and done your photos or whatever, and then a few sort of weeks, months later, wherever it is, and you actually play the aircraft or the tank that you've been out and photoed. That must be a real kind of pat on the back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing the easy part, I suppose. I'm just pressing a button on the outside of it and the inside of it. The developers have got to spend months and months and months actually making it. It's a lot of fun to just jump in it when it's in the game as well. Like the Harrier, that was one of my all-time favorites, I think. Jaguar, that's another one of my favorite jets. That's been really cool to see that as well. So yeah, it's just really cool to get see that whole process from sort of start to finish and things like that. And obviously the other side of my job on that is going through all the comments and all the feedback and seeing how people react to it. And it's always cool to see people really appreciating, it is just a video game at the end of the day, but obviously a lot of hours go into the developers actually making every single pixel of these vehicles that, they take months and months to actually create. So yeah, it's quite an experience seeing all that.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
What's the furthest you've gone in order to capture pictures? Obviously, you said you go abroad and things like that. What's the furthest you've had to go to kind of get these images?
Probably in the UK, I've only been really as far as sort of like Midlands area. That's not too far, I suppose, for that. Abroad, probably Germany, Tank Museum, somewhere there as well. Few sort of museums, but generally, even when I'm on holiday, if I know I'm going to a museum I've not been to before, I might just go and take photos of everything there, on the off chance that one day someone will be like, oh, we need that actually. So just for my own personal use as well, because obviously I build a lot of model kits and just have an interest in all this stuff generally. So I always try and have a habit now of wherever I go somewhere new, just spam the photos out and hope for the best.
You've never been tempted to like pass off underneath of an Airfix kit because you couldn't be bothered to go back to a museum and hope they didn't notice it?
Yeah, no, I've my own models definitely. If I can get away with not painting something or not doing something, then yeah, definitely. But, unfortunately, we've got too many eagle-eyed players that would miss the smallest little rivet being out of place. So we've got to make sure when it comes to the game, they're all as perfect as can be, pretty much. And we, sometimes mistakes still happen. You still make a few errors on some planes, but you can always go back and fix it later, hopefully, or do the best you can to replicate it as authentically as possible. But it's at the end of the day, it's still a video game as well. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It's fascinating to sort of to hear about it, because you play we play sort of Microsoft Sim and Flight Sim and that, and all you get is the kind of end product. You don't appreciate the hours that went into it and the amount of labor it went into making it accurate, because you just sort of, as long as it's close enough. In my mind, as long as it's close enough and the dials are there, it's good enough. But the fact someone goes to that effort to make it like absolutely spot on,
it's definitely true. Because when you got a game as well, like you got obviously people like yourself and me that are like, if it looks right, it's fine for us. But at the other end of the scale, you've got the people that like want to probably only have an interest in one vehicle in the entire game that's got like 2,000 vehicles in, and they want to just experience that vehicle and see every aspect of it and really get a feel for what it's like, and they will look at every single part of it. So while most of us are perfectly fine to just like, it's the plane I want to fly it, you've also got to cater to those people that want the full experience of a plane as well, or a tank or a ship. So I think go as far as possible. You've got all your bases covered, got it all as far as can be done, pretty much.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm just going to bring Ian back in on this.
Mhm.
For a couple of comments there from Jack Rolls, and also you can have your say on this as well.
Yeah, Jack's saying that his favourite game is War Thunder, so yeah, that's
cool.
fantastic,
Cool.
Jack. And he'd love to see a Panavia Tornado GR4 in War Thunder.
Yeah, I would too. That's a lovely plane. One of my favourite planes. It's all the British jets from sort of 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Can't go wrong with those.
Your Cold War jets. What I was going to ask you was, I mean, you spend all this time on modelling these planes and making them look rivet perfect, if you will. How do you get on with the physics of the actual plane, say a Harrier or a Jaguar? Because you can't experience it, can you?
No. So that's the other end of it. You've obviously got the 3D visual side of it, and then the more technical side. We've got entirely different developers for that sort of thing, where it's mostly based on the documentation. So for most vehicles, you've got the RAF, for example. They keep a good history of all their flight tests, all their performance data, that kind of stuff. And for obviously vehicles that are in the past, it's all in public domain. You can go to Duxford or somewhere else and they've got it in their archives. Most of it's online as well, pilots' manuals, things like that. It sort of gives you all the parameters you need to sort of paint the picture around how it's going to fly and stuff. But aircraft like the Harrier, they're a real challenge because getting an aircraft to vertically take off and hover and stable, it's a lot of time spent on that. I think that probably spent more time just making it work than the actual model took. So it's a real challenge.
I was also going to ask from like inception. So if you get an email off of somebody from War Thunder and says we are doing a Panavia Tornado GR4, how long from that email to it actually appearing on the game would it take? Would you say?
It really depends because it's obviously number one, depending on what vehicle it is, it might be, is there anything left in the world of it? Some vehicles we've actually found there's not a single one anywhere in existence. So from that point, you have to go from working with photos to working with blueprints, pictures, and sort of black and white photos sometimes of World War II vehicles that you just can't find anymore. So in that case, it can loosely be anywhere from sort of 6 to 7 months to anything up to 2 to 3 years. It could really go on that long. And obviously you get vehicles sort of like Italy, Japan, where translating documents is a whole nother ball game of stuff. And you've got people that fluently speak the language and can translate the language. So, and obviously during World War II, that's a bit of a mixed bag because nations like Japan and Italy, you can't always get the documents anymore because it might have been one vehicle was produced, whereas nowadays you get like 200 vehicles produced. So it's very difficult to sort of say X vehicle can be 6 months away because we might start on it for 3 months and then find out it's going to take us 2 years, 3 years, that sort of thing. So I
was going to ask as well. So I mean, I have played War Thunder a bit, but I've not delved into it that deep to, see how many aircraft are in there and things like that. But do you just specialize in actual planes that I've actually seen combat, or would you go into like concept planes as well? Is that something you've dabbled with?
Generally speaking, we always try and go with something that's at least flown. So like a prototype, for example, that's sort of fair game to a degree, providing it had some sort of weaponry or was spec to have weaponry at some stage. We don't tend to go in stuff that never really left paper, sort of, your concept designs, that sort of stuff. We have in the past. There was a time where we used to have, before we added Cold War stuff, we were sort of sticking towards Korean War era. And it gets really tricky for Japan, obviously, around that time because most of their jets designs from World War II were just designs. So there was a couple of times where we had to sort of stretch it for Japan and give them a paper design, if you want to call it, to give them a bomber. But obviously, as we've moved more into Cold War, Japan's actually getting more and more stuff now because they've obviously got jets from America and things like that. So now we've gone back to more, if it actually existed, it's fair game. If it's just a paper, it's not so much really what we're about. Yeah.
I've just one more. Do you find it's getting a little bit easier as obviously the game's been going for a few years now and what have you, and a lot of the parameters have already been set and you've got all the documentation and things like that, but also even with the RAF, you just do not have the massive range of fighter jets like we used to. We've only got, we only have a Typhoon and an F-35 really now, don't we? So
it
does that
definitely
make it easier?
Yeah, we just got to the stage sort of last year where we're adding things like the Starfighter, the F-104.
Yeah,
And it's crazy how many countries actually had that jet. So, for making the Starfighter family, you can suddenly cover about 5 different nations in game, America, that sort of thing. And obviously everyone else has had one. So the more it progresses to be more modern, yeah, you're right. The more countries start to buy technology off each other rather than have sort of like we did, Supermarine, Hawker, English Electric, all those different companies that just don't exist anymore. So it's definitely got easier in that aspect. But obviously, as you go to the more modern stuff, information starts to get more and more scarce, because if it's still something still in service, or even in the last sort of 10 years, it's a no-go for information pretty much. It's
right.
It starts to get quite tricky there. So yeah.
Right. All right, okay,
Yeah, there's a few like of the World War II planes, isn't there? Like the short Sterling and that, you would have had to have gone on the blueprints and all that sort of business.
Yeah, that definitely took longer. We had the Lancaster in pretty much from the start of the game, but something like the Halifax and the Sterling, they came about 2 or 3 years later, just because, the Halifax, I think there's one in Yorkshire, which we was able to get a few bits from, and obviously there's quite a lot more material for that. But the Sterling is, like you say, that's sort of the dark horse of the bomber family for the heavy bombers of World War II. So it's a lot harder to get those sort of vehicles that just don't really exist anymore. You're reliant on books and old things like that to sort of really try and get the information out of it.
Yeah. Sorry, go on.
I was just going to ask, how many people would it take if say you were doing this Sterling, for instance? I mean, you obviously there's a hell of a lot of work goes into it, and there's a lot of man hours being put into it. So, how many people roughly would it take, to get that thing, in the air and on the game?
It could be anywhere from sort of, I'd say around 10 is like your average possible number. Maybe a bit less than that, could be a bit more than that. Also depends on how many museums you've got to go to around the world, how many developers it might take, how many flight model developers, how many designers and things like that it can take. So yeah, it's often not just a one-man job. It's a lot of people that collaborate in all different sections and areas of the game that go into it. So it can be quite a tricky task in some senses. Not as tricky as building the real thing, of course, but it's still quite a feat.
Absolutely. And like Steve was saying, you see the end product, don't you, Steve? And you just don't realise the man hours and the effort that's going into creating something like that.
And the thing is, as well, for Scott in particular, like the history lesson of going through it all, it must be incredible. Like the amount of books and like your Google search and that must just be like just reels of sort of old World War II, World War One aircraft and what have you.
Yeah, me and my partner Yuli, who was on the show a few weeks ago, we're actually looking to move in next year. So one of our first things I said is we're going to need like a really big bookshelf, not just for my books. Yuli's got a ton of books too, so we need a massive, probably need a whole room just for our books and things like that. So
wow.
It's
looking now then.
That's amazing.
Yeah, little granny annex just full of books.
Yeah. Just a couple more comments on that, Ian, and then we'll.
Jack Rolls is asking if Scott's got an Instagram because he wants to add you. So...
Yeah, sure. It's at Scott May 96
on screen now.
Yeah, it's on the screen now. That's absolutely fantastic. Rob Brown, plane spotting. Can you reuse data like an F-18 upgrading to an F-18 Super Hornet?
To be honest, we haven't got to that part of aviation yet. We're still quite a well away from that era at the moment. We're only sort of up to Jaguar GR1, so sort of 60s, 70s aviation. We haven't really gone into the modern era yet, so it's not really possible for me to answer something like that at the moment because we're still quite a way off at the moment.
Yeah, wow. Julia's saying that you do indeed.
You'd start looking for a big old book.
I can't remember if that's a smile or at the end of a comment. Yeah,
so Tom's gonna pop up your GoFundMe page in a minute. It's fine.
We've only set a goal for 20 quid. You don't need more than that. But we'll say goodbye to Ian for now. He's having a drink. That's fine.
Bye.
We'll come back to you shortly. But wonderful. So we'll just quickly shy away from the whole War Thunder for a second to sort of go into a bit more about sort of you. So you've told us sort of off air that you obviously do you do like your military aircraft. Which one's your favourite?
Military. Probably all time, I'd say the Sea Fury, which I know is quite an old plane. I've just got a particular affiliation with that plane. And obviously another one that probably not many people have heard of, the Western Lysander. It's a World War II sort of spy plane. I say spy plane.
Lysander.
Yeah. used to carry spies into France, in and out of France, sort of an army cooperation aircraft. It's very distinctive when you see it. It's unlike any other aircraft, pretty much. It's got a very distinct silhouette and a noise as well. So yeah, it's
fantastic sounding plane. The wing sort of shape as well is very unique to the aircraft, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, you know, the hassle my brother went to try and get that in Airfix. It's almost impossible. Even like eBay was letting us down. Like,
it
just did not exist.
Yeah, no, it's very hard to find. I really hope they're going to make a new one at some point, Airfix, or some model company make a decent Lysander at some stage. That would be really cool.
Have you got one yourself?
Yes, I do. I managed to get one last year. I got a small 172nd one, but I'd really love like a 132nd one. I think Matchbox, I don't know if you guys remember Matchbox, used to make little toys, things like that. They used to make model kits in the 90s and the 80s, and I think they made a really, really big one. But like I said, you can go on eBay and pick one of those up for like £100+, and it's a lot. It's a lot.
We just couldn't even find them on eBay. They were just like...
When one comes up, you normally find everyone jumps on it straight away, and you just...
big time.
Yeah, so you don't want to be mentioning that while Julia's watching, shouldn't you? You've got to be using that money for
saving for the
bookshops.
But no, fantastic. I'll quickly run it around the room. Steve, have you got a favourite military aircraft?
Let's go on eras. Like, obviously, anything like Spitfire, Hurricane, Lancaster, absolutely iconic. Like, all of those I love. The Sea Harrier of that sort of generation, for the like the way it would take off, like the hover and that, absolutely sensational. And then nowadays the Eurofighter, just amazing. Like the sound of a Eurofighter, and that when the air show was on at Bournemouth, there was no mistaking it. That was that was leaving, and the afterburners and what have you. So yeah, through the generations, I would pick those three. Yeah,
can't beat a Spitfire. So mine would be, I think, probably so maybe three as well. So Spitfire, the Rafale of the French, sort of the French one, and the Sea Vixen as well.
That's another good one. Yeah,
I had the pleasure of seeing that at Yeovilton Air Show, and just the shape itself is just it's a stunning aircraft. It's a shame, obviously, what happened to it.
Yeah.
Obviously, doubt we'll ever see one and see it in the air again. But absolutely fantastic aircraft to witness, sort of doing its thing and showing off its capabilities.
Jaguar is my final favourite as well. I think I'd say that probably jet wise. I know they're obviously retired mostly now, but I've just got memories as a kid, Eastbourne Air Show, when they would just rip up the beach straight down there, low level, full afterburners. Much like the Typhoon, they've just got a very distinctive presence when they're there. So. Yeah, very cool jet.
It's a shame, isn't it? I know you two went to Bournemouth Museum recently, and the Jaguar is pretty much the only plane that's off limits when it comes to sitting in it, isn't it?
I'd love to sit inside that. Yeah, you can ask Julie. I was walking around that for about 5 minutes, just admiring it. Yeah, no, it's such a cool jet. It's again, it's another distinctive one, isn't it? The way it's got those long legs where it sort of sits down. Really cool plane. Yeah,
it's such a shame that is the only one you're not allowed to sit in there. It's almost a bit of a tease, isn't it?
Yeah, no. That's a shame, that one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I do like the Jaguar there. It's changed colour a couple of times as well. The volunteers seem to get bored, and one year it'll be in standard kind of green camouflage, and then you'll go back and it'll be in like the sand camouflage, depending on.
That'd be cool to see.
Depending on who's got hold of it that year,
yeah. As long as it's not ITA,
yeah.
But no, that's all right. So is there? If you had a sort of a wish list, if we just quickly sort of tie the two topics together of War Thunder and military planes and that, is there sort of an aircraft that you're sort of hoping that they'll send you to go see to put onto the game? Like, is there one that you kind of want to be able to see on the game?
I would honestly say the Lysander, but obviously there's a reason why that's not in game, and it's purely because of the role it did in real life. It was more a taxi for spies. The army did use it initially to sort of be a very light bomber, but they quickly found out that bombs that are basically the size of this are not going to do much against anything at all. So it had about 2 machine guns in the front, I think, but obviously going up against things like 109s, Focke-Wulf 190s, it's not really in that caliber of plane. So it's one I'd love to see, but yeah, I can understand fully why it's not really fun.
Be like
to do.
accidentally dropping a crisp on the floor, isn't it?
Yeah.
As devastating
Yeah.
as that is, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't do much, does it?
No, it's cool to look at, but I don't think it'd do too much. So
No, absolutely not. Just bring up a comment here. So Grey Blue, who's watching, says fire show, guys. So I'm going to assume that's good news. So thank you very much. Wonderful. And a quick one
Showing our
from
age now. But these showing our age, these cool sayings don't mean anything to us.
that's
I'm
good.
not down with the
That's
cool
good.
kids.
Fire's
I've
good,
never
so-
been down with the cool kids. But I'm just going to assume that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's all
Yeah.
good.
But comment from Jack Rolls, who asked about the Instagram earlier. He said, it's maybe going off topic, but what's your favourite airliner and aircraft?
Ooh, split question, I guess. Out of service now, or still in service for cargo, 747. I think you can't top that really for me. Every time you see one, it's just very distinctive. It's iconic. It's gonna, even people that don't care about aviation know what a Dumbo is. It's one of those ones that it stands the test of time. Sort of current, modern, future-looking. I think A350. I love that plane. That's very distinctive. Again, the Virgin livery and the British Airways livery on the 1000. Yeah, I think that's definitely a cool airliner.
Fire liveries. I think that's probably the best way of putting it. But 350 is a wonderful aircraft. Do keep getting questions in for Scott. So we are here for, let's say, between 45 minutes to an hour. So get your comments and questions in. We'll bring Ian back in. You know he's only been gone a little bit for a few more comments.
Yep. Fire show, guys. That's Grey Blue. Yeah, apparently it is good. So
I'll take it then.
yeah, that's good. Yeah. Rob Brown plane spotting a Tonka every day of the week and twice at the weekend. I think I'm with Rob Brown on that.
Well, do you want to show behind you?
Yeah.
There you go.
There's mine. The German. What's it one? That was the Welcome to. I can't even say
The
it.
jungle.
No, Welcome to Schleiswig. Were it something? Schleiswig. It was Tiger Meet. I think 2014 or something like that.
Very nice.
So that's my tornado. Yeah. And probably an English Electric Lightning. I think they're my two faves. Do you fancy a trip to Russia for the Tupolev Burr?
Oh yeah, I'd love to. I've been to Russia only once before, obviously to go meet up with the guys there, and I got very lucky. I don't know if you guys have heard of a tank called the Mouse. It's the biggest tank ever made, big German tank. It's basically a big slab of armor, only 2 ever built, and that was a real sight to see. But yeah, I'd never seen a bear in person actually, never seen one, so I'd love to go see one
actually.
Yeah, I'd love to see one as well. I think you'd be very privileged to get some shots of that, won't you? Without being asked a lot of questions.
Yeah, I would offer to take him, but he'll be lucky to get a chocolate orange this year, to be honest.
This comment annoys me. I'm slightly offended.
The offset cockpit on the Sea Vixen.
Yeah, it annoys him. Not having that, Marco. Not having that at all.
Yeah, Boeing, being a BO8 spotter. We don't
Bournemouth.
have that many aircraft, but a decent aircraft I've seen was a 727 M-Star, Starling Aviation.
Yeah, I think Jack will probably jump in the comments. I think it's still, it was still there, wasn't it? Like fairly recently. I think it's still knocking about. I don't think it's left, but being at work and now, I may have missed it leaving. But yeah,
There was that one up at Gatwick as well, wasn't there? This week or yesterday, or I think it left today. I think. But yeah, I think I know which one that is anyway. Yeah, we'll say goodbye to you again, Ian. Didn't even get a chance. Nice. I can see what he's doing. I'm not bringing him on screen. Not doing it. So let's continue with with Jack asking about sort of airliners and stuff. Let's talk about sort of your spotting trips as well, because obviously you do a bit of like photography for that side of things as well. Any sort of recent trips that you've been on that sort of bring you sort of some joy and aircraft that you may have seen?
Yeah, definitely. I think I think it was a week after Julia's show. We actually went down to Bournemouth on your guys' recommendations. We had a little weekend break down there, and it was really cool to see those A340 cargos. I know that's Julia's favourite airliner, so it was that was quite a special trip. Seeing two of those go out.
Steve's recommendation, that was.
Oh, Steve's recommendation, yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
I
great
think
trip.
you probably hit the jackpot that day because you arrive sort of
In one
within
go.
half an hour of each other. So
Yeah.
you properly won the lottery on the A340s that day down there.
Yeah,
And I think there was
really
a
cool.
takeoff as well, sort of 12 o'clockish. So yeah, you had 3 movements, which is they obviously knew you were coming and put on a bit of a show for you that day.
Yeah. No, that was really cool to see those.
I think we had a bit of a word with Johnny, didn't we, to say get some more out.
yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. And then before that, probably I'd have to say we go to Heathrow quite regularly. We went to a museum yesterday with a trip, one of my other friends as well, with Yulia, and just on the way back, I was like, "Oh, I've got to pull into Heathrow just quickly, see if there's anything
It's got to be done. It's got to be done.
But a few months ago, obviously, Air Force One catching that down at Heathrow, that was easily, hands down, probably one of the best catches I've ever had. And it's one of those moments where even without the photos, you remember it forever. I think it's just
I know exactly what you mean, because that was the day that it left Newquay, which is where I was catching it depart, and obviously a lot of people had gone to Heathrow to get it landing and that. So it was a day that sort of will live long in a lot of people's memories, especially if they hadn't seen it before. So the location that I was in, I was stood on a hill, and Air Force One was like directly in front of me, and it was just it was phenomenal to see it. And it's like I said, one of those days that you're not gonna forget in a hurry. Going to Heathrow and stuff. I haven't mentioned this yet, but she'll be listening. We are going into Heathrow when we go to Stansted. I'm off to Stansted 3 weeks' time, I think it is. I've booked. Might nip into Heathrow on the way.
It's got to be done.
Might nip into Heathrow on the way. But yeah, so like I say, these things you have to go into. Any sort of, apart from obviously Air Force One and stuff, is there any sort of unique aircraft that you've caught or sort of surprises that you've had and you didn't really know about?
I mean, just that day actually, we was obviously only really there for Air Force One and the 757 that follows it in pretty much everywhere. What we wasn't really expecting, we caught a A340 Swiss, which is pretty topical. What we was talking about in the news earlier on, which I don't think I've ever seen an A340 other than Virgin. I flew on a Virgin A340 back in 2017, so to catch any other A340 was just cool for me. That was a cool spot, and we also had a 747-8 from Cathay. And I think you told that story. We had to sort of run to one runway, try and get a good spot of that, and then run back again to try and catch Air Force One. So
That's
that was
it. I remember you saying that. I think during the week when we spoke to you.
It was a pretty eventful day, but that's her favourite airline, so I wanted to make sure we got that for her as well, because it's.
I was going to say, how close were you to your first sort of domestic
argument? It was getting heated.
The other times, Air Force One's coming.
We didn't know what runway as well. It was that weird moment where no one knew whether it was actually, because they shut one runway, and obviously this was back in the time when they was only using one runway during the pandemic. Everyone thought they've switched to the other runway like they normally do in the afternoon, but we wasn't sure if Air Force One was going to go there or not. But obviously we know now, if it's a big visitor, they always just keep one runway free for them to come in. But it was that like 5 minutes of panic, like, oh crap, do we go that way? Do we go that way? Like, where do we go here? So no, it was but no, we got through it. All good, all fine. There's another memory to add to the pile.
Yeah, it's not. I was saying it's not a short walk round, is it? From one runway to the other.
We couldn't really get in a good position to get the other runways as well as we'd like. We had to sort of run and get a gap through the trees, so we were sort of not in a good place for either. In the end of it, we was just sort of trying to make it a bit of a compromise to get something, but then we managed to get back to Myrtle Avenue in time for Air Force One. So
nice.
Yeah.
Where did you end up when you spotted at Bournemouth? What positions did you go to, if you remember them?
So for the takeoff, we was actually at the entrance to the museum. We was going to go somewhere else, but I was driving around and I was getting a bit panicky because I saw it was going to go soon. So I was well, if we go to the museum and we park up, we should have a pretty good spot. And Yulia agreed. We were trying to discuss which one between two of us where we want to go. So she was happy to go there. I was happy to go there. Got that for the takeoff. And then we went to, I can't remember what exactly it was called. We drove down this forest lane and there was a very small car park for a park walk or something.
Yeah, okay, I do know where you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we just sort of walked along the road a bit, and we sort of found this open area that was towards the end of the runway, and sat there. And I think they was literally about 20 minutes apart, something like that. So we just sat there, had a bit of a chill moment, and it's now I know where that is. I know where to go back to next time. But that panic again of trying to find a place where you've not been before and find a good area, because when you've got two A340s coming in, it's not like A320s that you don't mind missing one or two. When you've got two A340s, it's like
I'm going to be in completely the same boat when I go to Stansted. I've never been there before, don't know any of the spots. I'm there purely to get an MD-11, and if I miss it, I ain't going to be happy.
No, are you going on a weekday by any chance?
Going on a Monday to a Friday. So
okay.
The whole week.
You should be all right. I think they normally come in. I finish work about 5 for my engineering job, and they're normally just coming in then over where I work into Stansted. So somewhere between like 4 to sort of 5:30, I'd say, is their normal arrival time during the weekday. So that can change.
I'm going to make a note of this, I think. Just so I'll remember, because my memory is shocking. I won't remember it.
You get some really good ones as well. Like there's UPS normally get a 76 or something like that there as well, I think. And FedEx sometimes get a 777 or 76. So there's a few really cool ones. But the MD-11 is hands down one of Stansted's best regulars, I think.
Seeing as Lufthansa retired theirs today as well, they are in short supply, especially over here in these shores and that. So it's a case of getting them while you can, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. Any other places that you've been to in terms of spotting locations? Spotting trips from, obviously, apart from Bournemouth and Heathrow.
Well, just last weekend I was traveling through Frankfurt, so I kind of use that as a semi-spotting trick, pretty much, just sort of phone spotting, I'd say, sort of out the window. I got really lucky actually. For a short haul flight, I got a Dreamliner, so I had a really massive window.
Lovely.
Which was great for when you're taxiing past. And we landed on the far runway, so we had to taxi past all of Lufthansa's hangars and things like that. So it was really cool to catch a few 747s and things like that. So that, and also Duxford Air Show, which is, you're always guaranteed to get some cool stuff there every time.
Yeah, that again, Duxford is another reason why I'm sort of going up to Stansted Way, because it's only about half hour away. So it's kind of like two birds, one stone sort of thing. Just do the both while we're up there and that, and it should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it. Opens on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
So going up on a Monday's not the great idea, but it is what it is. So it's fine. We got Mark Barrett saying, "Sorry, not sorry, Tom." This is about the Sea Vixen comment. I'm not happy. But he does go on to say, "Hi Scott, what camera equipment do you use for spotting?"
I've got a Canon. Oh God, now you're going to put me on the spot. It's the 111. I can't remember what the initial was before it. I've had it for like 7 years or more than that now, so I should know by now. But it's the 111. If you type that in, I think it's the is it E111 or D111? Yulia will probably put it in the chat because we've got the same one. So it's a great. I think it's probably like a mid-range camera.
Okay.
My next sort of kit I'm looking to upgrade is a lens. I've got a 250mm, and that's great for airliners because obviously they're massive. But when you're at Duxford, it's when the Spitfires and things are a bit further away, you need a bit more zoom. And Yulia's got a really good one for that. So I'm going to try and get maybe 300 somewhere like that, 400.
Straight in there, look.
Yeah, there you go.
No messing. Straight in there.
God, yeah.
1100D EOS.
It's a great one. But yeah, we got that for Christmas this year because she was using the Kodak before, which is, we all start on bridge cameras, things like that. But I'd recommend this for anyone for starting out spotting. It's a really great, solid base camera.
Fantastic.
You don't have to go crazy, do you? Buying a DSLR, you can get them second hand almost for sort of just over £100. They're not, they're expensive as you want to make it these days, really.
Yeah, it's a great camera, definitely.
No, that's it. They're I say you don't need to sort of go stupidly expensive.
No,
especially for a first timer. You don't need to spend a boatload of money to get good stuff. Like my first camera was like an SLR single lens digital, and it was absolutely fine. Like most of the pictures that I put on my Instagram are used with that camera, just a little bit of editing done with it, and you see how sort of sharp or how sort of crystal they are. But to fork out say thousands of pounds for a really good camera and get some really good quality on it. You can either start at one end of the spectrum or start at the other end, depending on your on your preference.
I think it's most important thing is just have fun with it. If you can catch a plane you want to catch, get a photo of it. It's more about that memory of
that's it.
Just capturing it. Whatever you can do for that is probably the best thing. So yeah.
I think I said a few weeks ago, there's no such thing as a bad photo. The only person who has to like it is the person who's taking it.
Yeah, definitely.
But if you're proud enough to want to put it on Instagram, you obviously think it's a decent photo. So it's not for me to criticise someone who's got a such and such camera. Like everyone's got their hobby. So good on
I'll bring Ian back in on this because obviously the camera side of things. Ian, you obviously use a digital sort of camera as well, don't you?
Yeah, I just use. I haven't got it with me. It's in another room. I just use a Canon PowerShot. I don't know what it is, a 950 SX or something, bridge camera, but it's just a sort of a point and shoot thing. But it does for me, and it takes some really, really nice pictures. It really does. I got that 380 with it taking off, and to get something moving and to make it look as detailed and as still as what it does, it's fine. I mean, I would like to upgrade, but it's going to be an as and when with that. It's just going to have to be an as and when with upgrading the camera. But messing with settings and things like that, it's not something I can really do. And just having it on an automatic setting, and like you said, Steve, as long as I like the picture, I'm happy. And that's what it's all about, capturing the memories.
And the first thing Instagram does, if that's where you choose to put your photos, is it turns it into a much compressed file, and it smashes a load of quality out of it. So you can have all this amazing gear, but the first thing social media does, particularly Facebook, is absolutely destroys your.
Facebook's the worst. It really is. Facebook's the worst for it because you could take a blinding picture, put it onto Facebook and stuff to show it off, and then you're like, where'd the quality go? Facebook compressing it down in order for it to be shown on it, and it ruins the picture. And that's probably when you get a bad picture, is when like Facebook decides to do its thing and ruin it.
Ruin it for you. There's one thing I can't do, and I've noticed this on some of my pictures. I can't get a reflection. I can't seem to get the shine on a fuselage or something like that. Which is
I could probably help you out there, Ian. It's because the sun doesn't shine in the north. You need the sunshine.
Oh, I can see these all these apologies for next week.
Shovel. He's digging himself deeper, isn't he?
All right, so Cornish again, northern north of England.
Places to
apologies, everyone. Jack Roll's just saying that Royal Jordanian have got a new livery for one of their aircraft that he's just seen. Send it to us. Let's have a look at it.
Yeah, I've just Googled that and I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, if you've got a picture, send it to us. We'll bring it up onto the screen. Rob Brown plane spotting. I haven't put my teeth in tonight. It says Air Force One with Joe Biden confirmed in Scotland in a few weeks for COP26. Make sure you say that correctly, because I nearly didn't. Yes, obviously that's happening, and there's been a Japanese 777 doing touch and goes at Prestwick, I believe, for training purposes for when this happens. So, so anybody up in Scotland, worth going to get all these leaders aircraft and things like that. Definitely going to need an apology here, Steve.
I'm very, very sorry, Marco, but bearing in mind last week Ian called you Marcus, so it's not that bad.
Yep.
Deary me.
You make a good point, Steve. Sun never shines up here.
Yeah. I can't do it for copyright reasons, so I'll just mention the song and everyone will know what I'm on about. Travis, why does it always rain on me? I'm not singing it either, so don't get your hopes up. Going back to the cameras, Ian, I'll let you read these ones out.
Yeah, Michael Barrett, he uses a Nikon D3300 with a 55 300mm and a Tamron 150-600 lens.
Big old lens, that is.
Is it? I really don't know.
So the best way to for obviously
the big grey ones, the big white ones.
No, it's bigger. So like on my camera that I've got that I don't use at the moment because I film stuff, but it's a 75 to 300 is like probably like that, very small. No, 75 to 300 is about like that,
right?
And then sort of 600 is like that. So it's a fairly big thing, and I've also seen by doing that it's going to be something else. It'll get clipped or something. Ian uses wonderful app on his phone later on, no doubt.
Those white lenses you talk about, Ian, are called the L series, and they're like northwards of £2,000-3,000 up to sort of 15,000-20,000. They're so expensive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you'd have to be on Monopoly money to be able to go out and want to get one of those.
It's bizarre, isn't it? I know people use that kind of thing as well, don't they? Obviously do. I've seen them using them, so I don't know. I mean, like you say, if you're that seriously into your hobby and you can afford to buy equipment like that, but fair play. Jack Rolls, being a massive aviation fan, I've got a Sigma 150-600 lens on a Canon 1300D body.
Same sort of size as what I've just done. I'm not doing it again. But
Yeah.
I ain't doing that again.
Yeah, no.
So and that
a nice little one here.
Oh, right. I'm going to say that comment from Steve, calling me and Isaac the best two Bournemouth spotters. I have to thank him so much. But what I would probably do, Jack, is put it into the context of the insults he's been throwing at me all night and Marco. So I'd just take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah.
No, you're welcome, Jack. Absolute top man, and it's not a problem to tell the truth on that one. So you're welcome.
I don't think that's sincere enough.
Because he has to face them.
Fantastic. Well, we'll slightly move on here. Ian, you can stay with us for the rest of this show now, as we talk about model aircraft. Because obviously, as we can see in the background, you have model tanks, and of course, as we saw during the week as well, you have model aircraft. How long have you sort of been collecting them? And also, you do sort of the airfix side of things as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so it was mostly my dad, I think, who got me into it. I mean, most dads do that now, don't they? So they buy you the Spitfire, buy you the Tiger One, and you start off with that. And I think I must have been under 10.
Sorry, that was Michael Barrett's camera.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah,
massive lens.
Yeah, lovely. Sorry.
No, it's cool. I was about under 10, probably 9, 8, something like that. I was quite late, I suppose. Most kids start even earlier than that. But yeah, I think Tiger One was my first one. I've still got that up here somewhere, just as a memory of what I started off with. Normal things, you get glue all over your fingers and put it all over the model, that sort of stuff, melt the plastic, and I think everyone's been there when you was younger. But yeah, slowly progressing onto like more modern stuff, I suppose. I've just started into airliners. Yulia's kind of got me on that with the civil spot and things like that. I've started taking interest in that. So yeah, no, anything really. Spitfires, jets. I've done working on a Vulcan at the moment, the Airfix Vulcan. Yeah, it's become a bit of another hobby where you start buying stuff that you shouldn't be buying so much of. And,
what you want to do is you want to just like slip a hint as to what you're after next. Just something. Yeah. And then it'll just be like, oh, by the way, I bought you this, and it's like, I knew you would.
747, any 747, can't go wrong with 747.
Oh, do you know, I really want that Typhoon. Oh, I'll get you it. Oh, you don't have to. It's too much money.
You actually did that. Actually, saying that for one of our first dates when we first met, I think we was having just back and forth conversations about planes because we're both mad on it. And one of the first gifts she got me was when around the time British Airways retired their 74s. And I was saying how much I love the BOAC livery one. And sure enough, on our next date, I had a BOAC livery.
See, it works. It works. Yeah. Right? Everybody try it because it works, right?
So yeah, that's how you know you've met the right person when they're buying you gifts that are just spot on like that.
Absolutely. That's the main thing is they're a tinker if they take the hint. But yeah, so obviously, Ian, you've shown us like the tornado in the background and stuff. But obviously, having been to your gaff, um, you have a little bit more than just obviously your tornadoes and stuff, because you also do airliners as well, didn't you?
Yeah. I've got a few three. I mean, most of it's up in attic now. The cat, I've sort of, the cat's just destroyed everything. The cat will walk along. Honestly, it'll walk along this shelf here, and I'll have to pick everything up off floor. And the amount of times I've had to repair the landing gear on this tornado is unreal.
I've had that.
So a lot of stuff's in the attic now. But I've done I remember doing an Etihad 320, British Airways 320. I've done a Cargo Lux 747-8. That were a nice one to do. Lufthansa A350, which is the same as one as you did, Tom, weren't it?
Yes, I won't get up and bring mine down, but I might do a little bit later if I can be bothered.
The 777s. I had a spell of that's the one. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, no, it actually had the old livery. The one we.
No, it's not that one, is it? Because
it's one with the old livery. Yeah.
In fact, I will get it. Bear with me.
Yeah. So what else were there? A couple of Dreamliners. I did a Star Alliance. Air India Dreamliner. That was nice to do. So I had to get the decal kit from. I got it off eBay. The decal kit, and it came from somebody in Russia, and it was just printed on a sheet. Yeah. So you had to cut them all out. You're selling things like that, which were, So that looks really, really nice. That I was really chuffed with that. That's nice.
Oh wow, that looks really cool.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah. But I sort of sticking the windows in the side and things like that, and then you'd put the windows in, and then you'd have to get that mask stuff, and then dab each window with a masking gel.
Can't see.
Well, in the end, I just don't put the windows in anymore.
Yeah,
that's the easiest thing to do. And then obviously having to get the seams right, and then sand it all down and things like that. And I don't have the kind of, I don't live in the kind of place where I can have like the full spray setup and things like that.
Yeah.
So I'd go in garden with aerosols I buy from Alfred's and paint them up using aerosols from Alfred's and that. But they look really, really cool. And I was happy with them. So spend a lot of time doing, particularly cockpits in the little fighter jets and things like that. Sat under a magnifying thing, it scraping cockpits down and trying to. Look nice. I really enjoy them.
Marco Barrett's saying that he recently completed a Revell 172 scale de Havilland Twin Otter in the old white and blue Flybe colours, and he sent me a picture, but I don't have it anywhere near to me. So send it to me again. We'll show it on the screen. And also,
what scale was that Lufthansa just now?
Hey,
what scale was that Lufthansa just now you showed?
1/144, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also think this is for the show, not for anything else. Like Julia, I think it's a show. I think I'm just going with. But no, I think the that one there is a 1/144. I mean, considering if you say to somebody a 1/144 aircraft, you think it's a bit small, isn't it? No, it's not.
No,
it's not the A350. It's not bloody huge. It is huge.
Yeah.
I think this one's probably the same one. It's just they put the new livery decals in. It's probably the same kit you built. It's just
possibly.
The
I would say so. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's also not airfix.
No, it's funny because I've got a load of them. I've got a lot of these things.
I'll tell you what. While we're at it, do you want to just put them on screen? All three.
All four.
All four. Sorry. Yeah. We'll do three.
Hang on.
We'll do three because we'll make a small announcement while we're here.
Okay. Well, I've got all four of them here, so
do all four. Yeah.
I can still do all four.
Cover yourself up. That'd be fine. Wonderful. There we go. We're going to give these away. So we're going to be doing a giveaway soon, and 3 or 4 of you. We don't really know how many people yet. We've got lots of things to give away, which we've been wonderfully given. And we're going to give these away.
I've got 4 of them.
Details will sort of come in the next sort of week or so, but we are planning to give 3 lucky viewers, maybe 4 lucky viewers, depending if we're going to give away all 4, a chance to get a 787 model. They are really good quality.
Yeah, they're decent.
Very good quality.
Coming a little stand as well.
Yeah, there you go. Ian will show it off now. There you go. It's a quality model, and will be given, say 3 or all 4 away to you lucky viewers.
Yeah,
real soon.
They just snap together.
Snap together as well, nice and easy. Little desktop model if you fancy.
Yeah, they're all right. Yeah, nice little thing. Yeah.
Keep an eye on the social medias if you want to have a look at those. And sort of being given a chance to win them. We'll go back to sort of the model aircraft side of things and things like that. Are you sort of primarily sort of an airfix builder, or is it you also collect like die-cast and that?
I've got quite a lot of die-cast, to be honest. Whenever I go on a flight anywhere, I tend to buy the model of that plane, just so I've got another little memory of it. Most of the airlines on the bigger long-haul flights come around with the carts, don't they, and say, do you want to buy mugs or this or that or the other? So I normally buy the plastic plane, much like that Dreamliner you just showed, actually. So I've got quite a few of those and a few die-cast planes. If there's a plane that I know I can't actually paint and get all the decals on of a really crazy livery, then I'll probably just buy the die-cast model of it and save myself all the hassle of trying to put everything on there. So pretty much a mixture of everything, really. I just I like to have a lot of planes around, and anything goes, really. Anything at all.
Yeah, no, fair play to you. Steve, I'll hand this one over to you just quickly.
Okay. Do you know how many you've got sort of in total of your collection?
That's the question I don't ask myself. Don't tend to count, because that's when it's a bit scary and you don't want to know those numbers. Probably don't know. It's probably in the hundreds, which is a bad thing to say, I guess. But no,
it really isn't.
There's so many. I don't want to count it, because it's especially when we move out as well next year. I've got to bring most of them, if not all of them, with me as well. And Yulia's got some too. She hasn't got as many as me, but that's because mine are probably going to take up too much room, and we'll share them all anyway. I'll say
a wonderful lesson this is for anybody looking for like love is find yourself somebody who will buy you planes, right?
Yeah.
2,
let you keep them all.
Let you keep them all. Yeah. And once you've done that, you know you're on to a winner.
We're going to share them all. So all of my models become her models too. So they're all.
There we go. That's Marco Barrett's
really cool.
Really nice.
twin otter.
Oh, nice.
That he made. So very, very nice.
It's really nice colours.
Makes me want one now.
Yeah, that looks dead nice. That's really nice.
It is smart, isn't it? But
Wow.
So if anybody's got any pictures of models that they want to send in before the end of the show, I'll say social medias are available to send it on. We'll just put them onto the screen and we'll get them shown so we can sort of critique. No, we're not critiquing them. We'll tell you how good they are. Yes. Rob Brown Planes Point says Virgin model looks pretty good. If you want to show that again.
Well, that's it there, because I've actually got one out of the box. So they're only tiny little things. I mean, they're not brilliant. You can see engines, can't you, and things like that. But for a little like memento to the old 747s. I've disappeared.
Nope.
I'm back again. Right? I tapped something on my laptop then. Yeah, so for a little like mementos to a 747 or something, they're all right. They've just got a little shelf, and I've got the Virgin one. I've got a British Airways one sat up there as well. So yeah, so they're nice little things as well. I've got the Virgin one, and I've got 4 of the BA ones as well. So that's another little giveaway we can sort out, Tom. I think there as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We've got some giveaways planned. So, like I say, social medias. I'll run through them again on the stream just as we do this.
Let's pop it up there.
And we'll go from there. Steve, I'll still leave this one with you.
Well, So, apart from the Vulcan, what other models have you sort of got in the pipeline at the moment that you're making?
Probably quite a few that I want to get going, but I want to do this one most recently, 320.
Oh yeah.
So I'll probably get going with that one. But other than that,
sorry, carry on. I'm not being unprofessional. I'm really not.
Yeah, just Spitfires, Hurricanes, normal stuff, and the Vulcan's really taken up most of my time. It's a big old plane, so
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you have a preference to a particular model company, like a Revel or an Airfix?
probably not some. I mean, Airfix, you can't really go wrong with them. They've been around forever, and you know most of the stuff they've got covered. But yeah, sometimes I'm going to different manufacturers if you can't find a right plane. Some people don't do it, or a lot of airliners now. The Russian companies Zvezda. I don't know if you heard of those guys.
Absolutely,
They do some really
I
cracking
use
ones.
them. They're the same modelling mold as Revel.
Yeah,
The Zvezda
yeah.
ones, yeah.
So
definitely.
I've got quite a few of those, and yeah, like you say, Ravel. We've also got Meng, Edard, some of those guys. So yeah, plenty of companies out there. Just
definitely. I always have problems with Airfix models, man. I have problems with painting them, and I just can't get the paint to stick on an Airfix model, no matter how much you try and clean it.
Yeah,
it's what they call fish eyes, isn't it? And it just tends to be the worst for it. To be quite honest, I find.
Yeah, I've never really got into building them. Like I said previously, my brother's massively into them, but my fingers are too fat and sausagey to be able to do it.
So this is from Steve, aged 5. Would you like to tell us what this is, Steve?
It is. Well, it's open to interpretation, but I built it just now, and I'm quite proud of it.
So what is it meant to be?
Well, it's kind of like a blue sausage with wings. Actually, all it needs is an Italian tail on the back of it. And,
it's a new livery.
Yeah, I've done the new ITA livery there.
Oh, my days.
I'm keeping that. I'm quite proud of it.
Oh, God. I don't know what I've walked into here.
You were saying previously that you go on quite a few flights and that. Have you got any coming up?
Yeah, so, I mean, before I met Yulia, I did care about what planes I fly on, but I wasn't sort of super into civil now. But now, through meeting Yulia, going on spotting trips, things like that, I've taken more of an interest in what I'm flying in and, things like that, trying to tick all the boxes of getting everything done. And the A380, I think that's one I really wanted to get done. So did Yulia. So we're going to meet her family soon in Poland. And normally you could just take a straight 320 flight with British Airways straight to Warsaw. But we've kind of made it a bit more complicated for ourselves. We're going to go for the Frankfurt trips on the British Airways 380s.
Oh, nice.
Next month.
Very nice, yeah.
We've got a 7:00 flight from Heathrow to Frankfurt, which is going to be a great fun. And then we've got a 320 Neo with Lufthansa from Frankfurt to Warsaw for the last stretch of it, and then repeat it back in again. So we've got Lufthansa back to Frankfurt and then the A380 back to Heathrow again as well.
Fantastic.
Yeah, wicked. That's
it makes it a bit more complicated, but when you've, like you said earlier on, people rushing in to get those tickets to get a short haul flight on a 380 because you're not going to get that chance again probably for a while.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I would say Rob Brown Plane Spotting reckons that your blue tack aircraft looked like a Messerschmitt ME-262.
Yeah,
that's exactly what I was going for. So he's got a good eye. Well played.
No, don't lie. No, lie. We've got another model picture to show again from Marco Barrett. Although Ravel cool. 727, which is quite nice.
Yeah, classy. I like that.
It's got a bit of. Has he got some kind of airport set up as well, with the markings what are on the ground there?
No, that's his Gemini boxes.
Yeah, in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got markings on under the plane, yellow lines.
In front of it, Tom.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah, probably.
Yeah. That's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice livery on there too.
Yeah, it is really nice that, yeah. A lot of effort goes into them, isn't there? Fantastic.
Does indeed. Maybe one show we'll just get like a big bulk of blue tack and just try and guess what we've made. Here's one we made earlier.
Yeah, it'd be like the Great Pottery Slam Down or whatever they call it.
Yeah, that's it.
That thing that used to be on TV.
The Great Pottery Race Barn thing, whatever it is. I don't know. I don't know. So obviously, apart from sort of all that, we are pretty much there. It's been a very quick hour and 24 minutes. It has absolutely flown by. It always does on a Sunday. But yeah, so if you got, we'll spend about 5 minutes or so just having a chit chat, and if anybody's got any questions, pictures to send, etc., etc., put questions in the chat, pictures over to social medias, which I'll pop up on the screen now, and we'll have a bit of a chit chat before we start to wrap everything up, and tell you about what we've got planned for not just next week, but over the next coming weeks as well. So yeah, you can follow us on Twitter. If you so wish to. You can also find us on Facebook, where we are live this evening as well. And to see any of the pictures that we take as well, you can follow the show on Instagram as well, and that's where we keep you up to date with everything.
I wasn't going to mention it.
Rob Brown Plainsboy and I will bring cheese, biscuits, and not to forget the chutney to the Great British Clay Build-Off.
Yeah. I was actually going to bring myself a place of cheese and biscuits in tonight with a nice chili jam I've got with roasted habanero chili or something in it. Very nice.
This ain't this ain't no chutney. This is M&S chutney.
Yeah.
We may as well ask the question while we've got a guest. Are you big into chutneys at all?
I don't mind them in burgers, actually. I like going to those pubs where they throw chutney in the burgers, apple chutney or something.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, good shout.
Ian's got a nice shout out for us as well, because he ain't done it for a few weeks.
I'll wait till end. Yeah, I was actually going to ask you, Scott, getting back sort of onto topic sort of thing about when you've got the day job, the engineering job. Is that aviation related in any shape, way, or form?
No, it's more. I do injection molding, so
okay, right.
Work for a trade mod as I'm sort of a setter production engineer. So last year we did a lot of medical stuff during the pandemic, things like things for hospitals. But because we're a trade model, we've got a bunch of different industries. We work in anything from medical all the way down to garden centers making seed feeders for them, or automotive parts or electrical parts. So it's
right.
It's quite a range. Every day is different. And then obviously I come home from that job and start another job. So I've got quite a mixed day. And
yeah,
but yeah, no, it's interesting. It can be very busy at sometimes, and always forget to wind down sometimes. So it's
that thing. I mean, you never stop, do you? To be fair, and with the War Thunder thing, do you think that would become more of a? Obviously, would you do it as a full-time job? Would it ever come up as a full-time appointment sort of thing?
Probably, I don't think I probably would. We do have full-time staff, obviously, but for me, it's more of a part-time thing because obviously my engineering side of things, that's where I've progressed through school and college and apprenticeship. So I kind of want to pursue that way for long term.
All right.
But War Thunder, I definitely want to try and keep for a little bit longer. And then obviously games have a lifespan, don't they, as well? So it's it's nothing forever, but it's a good part-time job for the moment. Yeah, definitely.
And what have War Thunder got in the pipeline? Have they got anything else lined up apart from just carrying on with War Thunder?
So we've got a new update coming out in sometime in the future soon. We've just sort of announced a few bits recently, but things like always updating the game for new mechanics, new physics and things, new vehicles, going, like I said, more into the future sort of thing, more not future, but more modern stuff rather than previous past stuff. So yeah, there's always new things coming up. Always trying to implement player suggestions, things like that. So it's a constant evolution, but always stuff to look forward to.
Yeah. And can the two work together? So I know you do you've got battleships in it as well, haven't you? So you've got your battleships, you've got your tanks, and you've got your aircraft. Can they all work together in the same time? I mean, I've played with the aircraft, and you seem to be dogfighting all the time and what have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but can you have sort of the battleships and then the tanks in the same sort of scenario?
Yeah, so you can play. One of the big things about our games that not many games do is you can have them all in the same environment. So you can have ships and planes, for example. So you can have battleships and then bombers coming in to bomb the ships and things like that, or vice versa with tanks. You can have anti-aircraft tanks fighting Stukas and things like that, dive bombing them. So it's it's a bit mixed around.
It's a massive game, really, isn't it? When you start looking into it and what have you, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it goes quite far. I don't think we've got the record just yet for number of vehicles, but we're over 2,000 now, so we're not far off getting close to a record. I think probably for the number of different historical vehicles we've got. So
and do you have
all those have been modelled accurately as well. The time it's must have taken.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of games out there in the past that have done similar numbers of vehicles, but there's probably little tiny 3D sprites in an old computer game or something. Whereas now we're up to tens of thousands of polygons on a model or something like that. So it's it definitely is quite a big feat, but it's ever going forward pretty much.
Absolutely, yeah. It's
are
there like offices all over the world?
So we've got offices in Russia and Germany. That's where I was this week, and then there's a few other countries around Europe and places like that. So yeah, it's quite a global operation. It's obviously there's people like me as well that work from home, because obviously we're not in Moscow or Germany or anywhere. But
no.
it's quite a worldwide thing. It's a lot of people involved all over the world, many different languages and nations and stuff. So
your 9 to 5 have to be sort of quite flexible with you then, going off to do all this stuff and what have you.
Well, it's normally I use my holiday to go and do it sometimes if I'm going away somewhere, but I normally try and do it on the weekends. If it's things like going to museums and stuff, I can try and slot it in on a weekend, and
of course
it can be scheduled that way. But no, it's good fun to have a good trip every now and again somewhere.
I think it has to be a passion, doesn't it? You've got to really want to do something like that. And
that's how it actually started out, as just a passion. I was just a regular player like everyone else, and I just used to use the forum a lot, make a lot of suggestions, and talk a lot on there. And eventually you get noticed, and people say, do you want to come on as a volunteer maybe to begin with, and then it progresses into an actual position at the company. So it's a passion that develops further, which is a cool thing to work for, basically.
And to be able to like go and see an aircraft and make sure that you photographed every last little part of it to make sure that it's that's no mean feat as well, is it? You like you say, you've got to run back if you miss a bloody switch or something like that, haven't you? So
it has happened as well, but sometimes the internet can cover you, sometimes Google can sometimes just get that last little bit you missed. But no, there has been an occasion where I've missed something, or someone else has missed something, or there just wasn't something on Google or somewhere that we could get. So you have to go running back up there again, and can I climb back inside your plane again for 5 seconds or something? Or
fantastic.
Definitely. So we're going to sort of begin to wrap everything up now, as we sort of prepare to end episode 31. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed tonight's episode. It's something a little bit different, but it's been a lot of fun. If you have done, do leave a like on the stream. And if you are new around here, do consider subscribing, because it will help us out on our road to 1,000 subscribers. But before we do that, we are going to push as much as we can social medias, and of course everything that we've got going on for the next couple of weeks. So as we said at the top of the show, both Ian and I are wearing the special limited edition Pride t-shirts, which you can get on the shop store right now. They are available up until the very end. This may block you out, Scott, so apologise. No, it didn't. You're right there. So they are available. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. Available until the end of October. Once October 31st hits, you can't buy it. So it is very, very limited edition early on for a couple more weeks. So do get them before they run out. It's fantastic quality as always. And obviously Ian can vouch for that as well.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic. They really, really are. Proper, nice. They're a nice fit. And they are really, really good quality. I mean, this has been washed a few times now, and it's fine. It doesn't lose its shape or anything like that. And they are really, really good t-shirts.
Good value for money.
I can hear something outside, and it's distracting me.
That's the inner boy coming out. That is. See, just don't. Do you want to go see what it is?
I was going to say,
I'm looking on my radar apps, and I can't see anything.
No.
I don't know what it is.
No.
It's like a bit police if it's up here.
But yes, do consider buying these to support not just obviously the channel, but also the LGBT community as well. I'm just trying to think what else we're doing here. Yeah, so we're going to be doing a giveaway in the next sort of week or two. Once we know what we're going to be doing for that, we'll put it onto our social medias, which I'll run through again at the end, just so you can sort of follow us on there. We'll be posting it all over the social medias, not just us, but also very, very quickly whilst we're doing that. Steve will be doing it on his Instagram, so if you haven't followed him already, you can using at Steve_Planes. Ian will also be doing the same thing with the _plane_place on Instagram. And Steve will also be active on Twitter at TDL Steve to post up the giveaways. Also, Whilst we are here, we've also got a nice little project which is coming along nicely, which we've spoken about, and will be debuting in the next sort of few weeks or so. However, we are going to need your help, and by your help, we need you to participate. We are bringing a style of, should we call it like a game show?
Without the glamorous assistant, yeah.
Without the glamorous assistant, yeah, until we find one, because there ain't one here.
I've just ordered my departure lounge frock.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not like Wheel of Fortune, in it, or something like. What's that name? What's her name? Jenny something, is it?
Jenny Powell.
Jenny Powell. That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this will be the Wheel of Misfortune. More.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
I'll give her a message. See if she's free. But no, we are bringing a style of game show to the channel, which is going to be quite interesting. So we are looking for. Let's start off with 4 participants to join one of either Steve or Ian, or maybe both of you. Maybe we'll have 6 people doing it. But yeah, so we're looking for contestants that might want to come on to our little game show / quiz. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've planned out everything. We've sort of done a mock run of it, and we couldn't stop laughing, could we?
No, it was good fun.
So
Really good fun.
yeah, so if you're interested, do contact either one of us on our social medias to come on to the show and take on Steve or Ian or both of them at Aviation Knowledge, and see how well you get on. There'll be sort of a small trophy, should we say, for each time, defending champions, etc. So if it's something that you're quite interested in, just you want to come on the show for it, let us know. Looking forward to this, actually, because a lot of planning has gone into it, and it's going to be, I think once it gets going, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it's going to be exciting. It's a good chance for people to interact with the show who might not want to come on as a proper guest or whatever. You can come on and sort of enjoy yourself anyway, yeah.
Marco Barrett says that he will team up with Ian to represent the Northern community.
Go on, Marco, lad.
Go on.
I'll take that.
Yeah, we were doing tag team quizzes and singles quizzes. So yeah, if you're interested, give us a shout. And like I said, follow us on social media to keep up to date with all of that. I will host it, of course, because I don't want to win all the time. No, of course not. I'll host it, and then, like I said, if you fancy taking on Steve or Ian, let us know. Next week's show, we are doing, just to give everybody a little bit of a heads up, we're doing a live Q&A again, because we enjoyed the last one we did, where we just sat here and chat nonsense for an hour and a half. So it'd be your opportunity to get some questions in to us about literally anything, and by literally anything I mean literally anything. Doesn't have to be aviation related in any sense of the imagination. But next week we are just doing a Q&A. We're going to be here talking about the news and answering any questions that anybody might have. Gosh, so many announcements to go through, it's not even funny. Also, we are moving the day that we are doing the show from a Sunday from November. So we'll be sort of looking into what day to do it. We're not entirely sure yet, but we are moving out of our Sunday slot and moving to during the week to hopefully have more people free to watch us. So again, we'll keep you up to date with that. And unless I've missed anything else, I don't think I have. I don't think I've missed anything else. We'll now begin to wrap the show up with some shout-outs. So this is the part of the show where we shout out anybody that we want to. And, of course, we're now given the opportunity for people watching to give a shout-out to anybody that they want to. And we'll show it on the screen as we do them. So we will start off with, of course, our guest. We like to put them on the spot because that's what we do. And Scott, any shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, well, first of all, to all you guys, thank you very much for having me on tonight. It's been real fun, real laugh. Massive shout out to my partner Yulia for putting up with me, supporting me, and obviously the reason why I'm on tonight for setting me up with this.
Buy planes.
Yeah, yeah. No, she's a big reason why I can do what I can do in all my work and jobs and stuff. So yeah, massive shout out to her for
Young
all
love.
that support. Yeah, just anyone of my friends know me, anyone else watching that knows me. My parents are probably going to watch this too, so massive shout out to them. Thank you for buying me all those models over the years and putting up with me as well, and getting me through things. So yeah, thanks very much.
Fantastic. Who should we go with now? Let's go Steve. We'll always go Steve.
Okay. First of all, I've kept it. I've done it. I've done it sincere this time. Like, I didn't feel it was sincere enough earlier on. So yeah. For those at home who can't see it, it says "I heart Cornwall." Sorry, chaps. So I will post it to them, and they can put it in the Truro tourist information office that they've got an official apology out of me now. While we're on apologies, sorry to anyone I've upset north of Watford. It was only a bit of banter. I'm sure the sun comes out a lot. My places I can go on holiday are becoming more and more limited.
They're going to have their own blacklist and just going to be your name and that's it.
Obviously, Scott, thank you for coming on. It was really interesting. I enjoyed the show tonight, so really appreciate that.
Anytime.
And I'll give Jack Rolls a special shout out, as he was so kind about me earlier on. So I appreciate that, mate. And finally to Ian and Tom, like, good as ever. So I appreciate it a lot. And thank you very much.
Good as ever sounds good to me.
Yep.
But they get any better than that. Fantastic. I'll let Cornwall know tomorrow that you've apologised to them. I'll let you know what they say. Right, Ian, over to you for some shout-outs.
Just big shout out to yourself, Tom, and to Steve for another good show this week. A shout out to Scott as well for a really, really interesting show, and it's really, really opened my eyes really to War Thunder and the amount of work and effort what goes into making what's essentially a free game as well, Scott, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's only content what you have to buy when you're in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
But essentially, it's a free-to-play game, so that's fantastic as well. Thanks to everyone who's been in the chat tonight. Marco Barrett there, who's going to team up with me and represent the Northern Community. Happy days. Rob Brown playing
right
spot
there,
in.
Northern Community.
Absolutely, yeah. And Rob Brown, he sees nice one, lads. So that's absolutely fantastic, and I hope you all get a chance to have a look into the Chutney channel if you do get a chance to look at it, because it's well worth a look. Have a right good look at it. So, and I'd also like to thank everybody who's had to put up with Scott, because he seems to thank everybody who seems to put up with him. So I'll just reiterate that.
Looks like you're not the only one to be apologising next week, Steve.
Yeah, the heat's off. The heat is off.
Fantastic. I've also heard the Chutney channel's a dark place as well, so we're going to go there.
Yeah, don't go there. Don't go there. It's a very dark place. Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'll do some quick shout outs as well. I'll do some shout outs to Scott for devoting his time to this evening's show. It's been, like Ian said, a lot of fun. Especially it's interesting to learn about sort of a side of any video game really that no one really sees, so to sort of learn about how the development side of things go has been a lot of fun. So so thank you for your time, not just obviously tonight but this week as well, for chatting to us as well. So a big sort of thank you to you. I don't know if I should shout out Steve, because obviously insulting the Cornish and that.
He's apologised.
Could have used a bigger bit of paper. But no, big shout out to Steve for wonderful job of co-hosting once again. Ian for being obviously contributing to the show as per normal, good as always. And big shout out to, NHS, frontline workers, not just here in the UK, but all over the world as well, for continued efforts during sort of this still difficult time. Obviously, it's easing a little bit, but yeah, still a difficult time, and obviously the hard work that everyone's putting in towards it. And I'll give a shout out to Jenny French as well. She'll be watching at some point. But I'll say a big thank you to her. She knows why. But a big thank you to her for her efforts this week as well, for keeping me as sane as possible. Right, that does it. So next week, like I said, we are doing a live Q&A. So if you have any questions for us, get them in the chat next week. But we are here next Sunday at 7 p.m. Unless anything changes, we may do a midweek show. I'm not entirely sure yet, but we will let you know. But if not, we will see you at 7 p.m. on Sunday evening next week. So all that is left to say from us is a big thank you, and we'll go around the room and say our goodbyes. So, Scott, if you'd like to say goodbye to people still watching.
Yep. Again, thanks very much, guys, for having me on. It's a great show, and thank you to everyone that listened, questions, things like that. It's been a really great experience. So, yeah, have a good one, everyone.
Wonderful. Steve, if you'd like to upset everyone else, that'd be great.
Right,
No,
cheerio,
say goodbye to everybody. Go on.
cheerio, chaps and chapettes. Have a great week, and we will see you next Sunday, if not before.
Short and stumpy. Lovely.
Yeah.
Over to you, Ian, if you'd like to say goodbye to everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody again for partaking in tonight's episode, and hopefully see you all again next week. And hopefully Steve's reprieved himself and he can hang out with a few of the chaps down in Cornwall now.
Well, seeing as we're talking about chaps, I'll plug it one more time. Buy the shirt.
Yeah.
Buy the shirt. Like I say, so on until the end of the month. But from us here on the show, thank you very much for your time this evening and watching us once again for episode 31. Feels like we're doing this forever. But yeah, we'll see you next week. Have a fantastic week, and we'll see you at 7 p.m. next Sunday. So take care, everybody. See you next week.
Bye.
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 Bye.